Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. I want to talk a little bit more about what I was talking about yesterday. This is going to be the introduction to the 200th and 11th edition of the Journey series. It's a lot of Journey series entries, and also to whatever video I'm making today on Thursday, August 21st. So, this thing to do with my son moving out, and you have these completion of something, right? It's like a completion of, we have chicks right now, and they are in the outdoor coop. So we had them inside a big plastic bin that we've made into a chicken brooder. And we have them inside the house for about a week or so. Then we put them in our greenhouse in the night, and it's kind of hot in there, so it's good. But like chicks have to stay hot. They have to stay at like an 80 degree, 90 degree climate for the first period of time, where they would spend their their formative their baby years underneath their mother's wings a lot of the time, next to their mother's body. They would get warmth, so you have one of these heat lamps, and so the heat lamp is key to keeping them, something like they have to be 95 degrees the first week, 90 degrees the second week. It goes down by 5 degrees each week. And then we, put them outside in the, we have one of these, chicken playpen kind of things that they can scratch and eat grass and things. And then we move them to the coop, and then we let them out to free range. It's about 3 to 4 weeks in. And then we just got to keep the dogs away from them, or one dog away from them, Tulsi. And then we're training them to go in and out of the coop. And, they just naturally become chickens. And then pretty soon they're just free-ranging chickens that are going in and out of the coop when they're supposed to. And, in the morning and the night, they come out in the morning and go back in at night before it closes, the automatic door. And then now they're just out there being chickens. And we feed them whatever. We keep them fed and make sure they have water, and that's about it, right? So, but, there's raising something to adulthood. You do it with train a puppy and these things. And then, of course, with kids, it takes a lot longer. 20-year period that they, go through these various stages of their life, and then eventually they go out on their own, right? And you have these things in life, you have to check off these boxes, which I'll go through in a moment. What I was realizing last night, that I am, not in a sense bummed about it. It's not like a negative thing. It's just what it is. But I'm involved in multiple failing ventures, right? Like my YouTube channel is dying, right? My YouTube channel is, going the opposite way that it should, and there's nothing I can do about it because of the algorithms, right? I mean, there's things I could do about it, but none of those things are things I at least for now, there's no feasible thing I can do about it to stop it. Like I have to bring in more people, and it just isn't happening because how YouTube structures its algorithms, and its all of its policies and whatever. The Gratefullness meditation is also going in a south direction. The individual sitting video for yesterday, Tuesday, got 46 views. And they used to get some hundreds of views, so there's less people partaking of the individual sittings and getting the transmission and these things. And that is, similarly, whatever it was at its peak. And then the whole thing with Saj Marg, the Gratefullness thing is a subset of Saj Marg with the dying system under Daji that has failed, which is, a really sad thing, and whatever that is. Where things are shrinking, right? Where things are going in the wrong direction. They're contracting. And, just where you're either expanding something or it's shrinking, right? It's getting smaller. And so, and I was thinking about that, like last night. That's the path forward. And of course, our system is imploding, like the system, whatever it's doing, and people are going in the wrong direction, and you really can't help them with that. And to whatever extent, when I first took my initial Mark sittings, you get these free introductory meditative sittings, and I had such a profound experience, and I was so excited. And I said to my preceptor, "Wow, does everybody know about this?" Because I knew it was like an amazing thing. And I was like, "You got to tell everyone about this." And I was, had so much enthusiasm, and I started telling people about it, and they all looked at me like I was, I mean, the system is, people don't want to meditate, and people don't want to hear about God, and people who knew me thought it was weird. My brother thought I joined some sort of a cult, and he ended up joining because of that. At least that's his story, and you never know with him. He's always exaggerating or whatever it is, but that's what he says. And that's a possibility. I mean, that's like at least something. I mean, I don't think he would have whatever. He might have at least thought that. At least that was something he thought. But either way, people didn't want to hear about it, and so I've always felt like it's my duty to tell people about it. And now I don't care what people do with it. Like I used to be bummed out, when I talked to people about it, they wouldn't do it, or when they would do it and they quit and or wouldn't do it well. And now I'm like, it's just my obligation and my assignment, whatever, to talk about it because it's the solution. I mean, it is the solution to the problem of human life right now. And you know, you have these things that you have material tasks and you have a spiritual life that you have to accomplish in life. You have these things, right? So early on in life, you learn to walk and talk and eat and feed yourself and go to the bathroom not in a diaper and like these these big milestones, like incredible milestones, things that you're going to do the rest of your life, right? How much do you walk every day? How much do you talk every day? How much do you interact? All the things that you do that you that are a part of your everyday life. And so you have to. I mean, you see this with if you're watching a fawn or like a baby cow, they have to get up and be on their feet within a short period of time. Like they're no lollygagging. They have to be able to move because their mom just can't sit there in one spot for days upon days nursing it, like in some animals where their eyes are closed like puppies and rabbits and they can't walk, they can't see, they can't, they're just buried in some den. And the moms come back and forth until the thing, the kangaroo in its pouch, right? But they at some point the creature has to be up and walking around, and then there's communication, and with kids, like we have more complex milestones than other animals, until we're ready to be off on our own. There's a time when we move out. Some of that is in college, like if you go to college where you're still kind of connected to your parents' home, but you're also living out on your own. And you get used to doing things on your own, and then you go back to your parents' house, and you're like, wow, I don't like being here anymore. I like to make my own decisions and things, and so you have to leave, and and it's a harder thing now because kids are so addicted to the internet and just disconnected from their family life, and they don't, go out and seek something in the real world. But there's a moment where you leave the nest, right? And so you have these things that have to happen. Like you have to, I mean, maybe you don't do some of these things, but it's part of human life, right? There's these milestones. You meet somebody, you get married, you have kids, get some sort of career, you get educated, you get trained to do some kind of a job, you participate in society in some way. You do a job, you have a family, and whatever else is like whatever your other things are, some specific things, your accomplishments, right? Then you raise your kids, and then the kids go out in their own into the world, and they participate and contribute in whatever job you did with them, and whatever they became, and they function, become part of society. And then there's spiritual life, which is kind of optional now, but it's really not optional at all. It's It's something that everyone's supposed to have, and it's more important than anything else because it's, you have these things, these milestones of the physical life that are a part of, the proliferation of your species. Making sure that there's more people when you have kids and those things that you have, with your life, and then your relationships with other people and what you do with the world, the footprint you have, whether you make the world a better place or worse place, and these things. Right? You learn how to cook and you find whatever ways that you get fed and whatever ways that, the hygiene and the way that you clean your place and do daily tasks and things like this. And when you get into your 50s, 40s, 50s, you start realizing death is there for you. And people don't think about death enough. Not in a bad way, being obsessed with it or whatever it is. But people don't think about death enough. And, I have this video series about what would happen if I, died. Like, I made a video in case I'm dead. People could listen to it. I have no idea what I put in there. But I have it's a playlist. And I also have Preparing for Death on my Gratefullness meditation, so I'll put this up as a separate audio and put that in both of those playlists. I'll put this whole video in the playlist on the Positive Future. But one playlist is on Positive Future, the other's on Gratefullness meditation. But either way, that's, this will be in there. But, at some point, I think it was, I was running, and I talk about this, and I'm running, and I'm like, boy, I'm slow, and I'm running like an old fat guy, and I'm like, oh, shit. Like I just realized I never really thought of myself as getting older. Like it was just happened day by day, right? And there's things that I don't do as well and whatever, but I was stressed out a lot going through the divorce in India and these things that's when I kind of got old. I put on some weight and I got old and it just didn't register because I was just so focused on everything else. My kids and the stress and all these things. We were in a bad situation in India, and having to reintegrate into America, and then all these things, and then the stuff that was going on with Dodgy and Heartfulness and the YouTube channel taking off. So there's a lot. I was just focused on other things, but then I kind of realized, and I started to have health issues post COVID, and it just, I was seeing death was coming. Right, I'm getting old. And I could see what happens as you get older, and just it's there in front of me, and whatever time it hits you, in your 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever it is, 70s, you see people who are, maybe classmates in high school. If you're still in your same hometown, you see people your age, you're like, oh my God, they're so old, right? And I talked about how I looked at these people up for about a week or so. It just became important. I really didn't think about high school even when I was in it. I was not into it like people are. But, I was like, oh, wow, these people are all old. Some of them are dead. My siblings and things, people start dying off. And you realize, the people that you grew up with as famous people are all starting to die, right? People who are, who are the politicians and the famous people that were the people of your youth are all really old and dying, right? So you're like, your whole generation is falling off the cliff in a sense. They're just, there's the dwindling numbers. And, it's a good thing to think about, not obsess about, but, you're like, all right, now what is it? Because when you're young, you have potential and you're becoming something. Your life and what you're going to do and what you're going to contribute, your career, who you're going to marry, your kids, that's all in front of you. You have these things and it's all, potential. And then as these things start completing, like my son moving out was the end of me raising kids, right? In terms of, whatever relationship is there. It's, that part where you're living all in the same house and they, when they leave the nest, it's a different situation. You might stay in their lives and it's, great if you do. And, they see them on a regular basis, but it's not the same. And, it's like an accomplishment. It's a milestone that's been completed. You have these tasks And as you eventually you retire, and then what are you going to do, right? So what's your purpose then? If you don't have kids, or you don't have relationships with your kids, and you don't have grandkids, you don't have a job, you don't have anything, what do you do? Like, what do? You got hobbies? You're just going to get drunk. I see these, older people, and, they get drunk a lot. And, you see people who are retired to Florida. I lived in Florida for a while. And they hang out, and they talk about old people things, and, the generation that was. And my grandparents, was there, my parents when they were there. And you see these people, and, like, what do they play golf, but what do they do? Like, they don't have a purpose, and they just get really old really fast. And there's, my dad was terrified of death, like, no spiritual connection, and, like, what's life about now? Like, why do you get up every day, right? Like, my wife and I will be farming until, we die. Like, it's, like, with that, and I saw these old farmers, the Badgetts. You have a purpose, right? You're working on the farm, you're doing things, and you're contributing, to whatever environment, and animals and things eat some of your food or whatever it is. Or, well, we had peaches this year, and squirrels ate most of them. We have 2 peach trees, one that has amazing peaches that this squirrel just ate all the fucking things, whatever. But, that has to be something we address. But, these things. And you have, your daily tasks that you have around the farm, which is good to have something like that. But then there's the spiritual thing, which is the most important thing. And that should be kicking in your 40s, 50s, 30s, certainly as you get older, because now you're transitioning to another place. Your body is no longer working as well. You've completed your assignments, as, whatever they are. And now you're focused on, your next incarnation, or your next wherever you're going after you die. And that should be something that you're connecting with on a regular basis. And the really only way to do that is through meditation. And, there's this general need for this. And the Sajmark system's amazing because of the transmission and cleaning, the experiences you have, the connectivity that you have. I mean, it's something you can do on your own, but with the enhancement of the Sajmark system, it's a wonderful system. And people start freaking out when they start thinking about death, and it helps alleviate those feelings, and you start, preparing for where you're going, right? Master Charge used to tell this great, like, analogies type story where there's this kingdom where the kings were all corrupt, so they would let one person in the kingdom become king for a year. But once they were done being king, they had to get out of the kingdom. And all the people who were kings, all these dudes, one after another, they just partied and indulged for a year. And then they were sent across this river to live on the other side of the river without being, banished from the kingdom. And this one guy decided to build a kingdom on the other side of the river. He spent his whole year doing that, and then he went to the other side of the river, and he was king again. And so that's an analogy for death, right? So, it's just something that, your soul is eternal, and you have to address your spiritual side. And people don't want to do that. They don't want to hear about it. And so, that's what I was talking about. It's kind of like a losing effort because, I can talk about it forever, and, and the people who, want to hear me mock stuff or whatever it is, and, the lowbrow kind of stuff or whatever. It's, I mean, even, for me, that I don't engage in, like, the binary system, the stuff people want to, people want to fucking indulge in their programming of right-left bullshit and Democrat-Republican bullshit and hating other people and blaming the other people and liberals, conservatives, and, all these fucking boxes they place you in that you don't even know you're just being fucking herded like cattle into these boxes, and people just don't want to fucking free themselves from these things. And, and they don't want to even think about something of a higher nature, even though, like, it's, sneaks up on you. I mean, as you get older and you realize, hey, I'm going to die, what's going to happen to me? And as your work and your things are, your accomplishments are done, there's a liberation of that stuff, but then how do you spend your time? And what do you focus on? And that's always, God and divinity. And, all the things that I do here on the YouTube channel and all the things that I cover and all the way that, I kind of, whatever effort I put into monitoring the audience, I know that the stuff that I talk about that has value, the most value, the spiritual stuff, it falls on deaf ears for the most part. And so, it's just, like I said, everything is like, is not expanding, it's contracting, right? And so, you know, it's just the way it is. And there's a great, the teaching I've talked about. You do the work and you leave the results to God. And you do your best. You do your work the best you can. But right now, there's a part that's other people. That people are running in the wrong fucking direction. And it gets worse with each generation. And, either it's going to stop or it's not. And, right now it looks like humanity is fucked, but, there always can be a wake-up call. There's example, St. Paul, for example, who was persecuting Christians and, a soldier who was killing religious, spiritual people. And he had this awakening, right? Saying he was, transformed into a spiritual person, someone who wasn't spiritual at all. And then he had this spiritual experience, and things like that can happen. It happened to me. And when I had my first 3 sittings, I had, no interest in God, no interest in meditation, no interest in these things. And that's why I'm not all bummed when people don't want to hear about it, because I didn't want to hear about it until I had the experiences that I did, and I was convinced. And so, but I tried it at least. I was, I resisted it when I was first told about it. I went to this therapist who was channeled, who was an MSW licensed therapist with also spiritual side who channeled. And my ex-girlfriend had gone to her. And then I went to her. She was a couple blocks from my house. And, I was really frustrated because therapy sucks. It can be helpful to some extent. I realized that I couldn't continue the life I was leading. But the new life I wanted to live I had no any idea how to create it. And I was just really frustrated. And I hadn't seen her for like 3 months, and I went back and had like a closing session. And her spirit guide said that I should meditate, and I had tried meditation before and didn't like it. So that answer pissed me off. And she gave me a piece of paper that had a picture of Chargy, like a poor Xerox copy that was hard to read. And it had stuff about it, and it had a number on it, which was the preceptor, my preceptor Fred. And I took the paper and threw it on my desk when I got home to my apartment, and didn't look at it for 3 months, and I was annoyed. And then I felt some stuff in my heart. And then when I had looked at it, it said something about the heart, meditating on the heart. And I didn't think about the heart as the way people talk about the heart, that's not the physical organ. That person has a good heart, or that's a good-hearted person, or your heart feels. I just I didn't think about my heart at all. But then I felt something. I felt vibrations in it for a couple of days. So I picked up the piece of paper and went and got these, sittings, and it was transformative. But, so I understand resistance to such things. I was fortunate that what happened for me is, I was a low-functioning person who didn't have much interest in God and spirituality, but I was, chosen for it, and, I was destined for it, and it's panned out for me. And so, I talk about it here, but, as our society burns, and it's burning with stupidity. It's being fueled by stupidity and low consciousness and depravity and materialism and, all these things. It's just feeding the flames of our destruction. So, that's what I'm thinking about. All right, let's get into the other stuff here. Actually, I forgot a big chunk of this. I had these thoughts last night, and my physical body, my teeth thing, which, seems to have gotten both better and worse. It doesn't look like I'm going to lose my front tooth, at least not now, and doesn't look like it's infected. Could be still, but probably not. But, in general, I have bone loss, and I have gum issues, and maybe some sort of, whatever they call it, disease, gum disease or whatever it is, right? Which is causing more problems. And, there's a whole thing with that, which is the bacteria that's in your mouth or whatever, and whatever acidity that's going on there. And so I have to deal with that. but it's never going to be like my teeth are getting better or getting, younger, like my body. I didn't take much of an interest in my physical health until I had COVID. I've explained this before. My mom was kind of a hypochondriac, and I just didn't do much of anything. I started having to take supplements after COVID, and I was just wiped out, and I had to take an interest in my body, and my health has improved drastically. My energy level came back like it was kind of gone after COVID, and I just had something going on with me, which I think was more of a spiritual thing, and I feel like I've turned the corner on that. But as you get older, you're just trying to preserve what you had. You're trying to preserve what you have left. You're not turning back the clock in terms of, you're not having optimal health. You're not going back to your peak days. Like, you're fighting a losing battle because your body is, at the very least, it's wearing down, right? You're not able to do as what you used to do, and you have health issues on the horizon, and would eventually kill you. Ideally, for me, I would like to be active, and even as an old person, and die in the field. I mean, just have my heart give out or whatever it might be, right? Just or in my sleep or whatever, without having some prolonged old age, whatever that shit is. Like, it just what they did with my mom and dad, particularly my dad, where he was scared to die, and they give you all kinds of shitty drugs that cause all kinds of other problems, but they keep you alive until they can suck out all the resources you have left, and then they allow you to die. But you spend years where you can't do anything, like you're just physically broken, and they're just propping you up, and that's not living to me, whatever. But this is also what I'm talking about. You're fighting a losing battle, and you have to do it. It's not like it's a bad thing. It's just you know that you're going to die, and you want to preserve what you have. And you have to be more careful about your diet. You have to exercise. You have to live in a healthy manner. Stress is a big deal. Eliminate and alleviate as much stress and much of the negatives, and cultivate the positives. And the spiritual thing is a big part of it as well, right? Doing God's work and being functional. As long as you're working for God, then God is taking care of you, whatever that may be, in terms of the death process as well as your physical life. And so that's, not that you do it for that reason, but that's a bonus. And so these are all the things, right? They're just, you get to a certain age, and that's what's happening. Like, you're getting rid of all you're finalizing all of your obligations and all the work and all these things, right? You're just bringing closure, all these things. It's the end of your dharma, your duty, right? You're discharging your dharma, all the things that you had to accomplish. You're bringing resolution to those things, right? And so that's there's an appropriate way to leave this world. Anyway, so that was something I needed to add to this. Let's get into the other stuff here. So what I was talking about in the beginning of the video, some of it can be considered toiling. Things that have no purpose, or there's no backing of it by your soul. You're spinning your wheels, and you're not going anywhere, but there's energy being wasted, right? You're stuck in the mud, and you're spinning your wheels. And there's nothing worse than toiling, and just doing the same thing over and over again, and expecting a different result. Where you're not moving forward in a capacity, and you're not doing what you're doing. You're not aligning your attitudes and your actions and your goals with your life, right? And pretty much all of our society is just doing that. It's just like busy work. It's like work that doesn't have a purpose. It's just to keep kids busy in school, because if they get bored, they'll start acting out. So you get assigned busy work, or your parents give you busy work. Like, you're sitting around going, what can I do? And you're bugging your parents, and they give you something to do that's unpleasant. You learn not to, find things to do, or you'll have to get assignments that you don't want. And so, all this stuff is just, there's no purpose. It's just like, we're watching a show of things that are imploding around us as the system collapses. But, in terms of all these things, all these little distractions, there's nothing. This Gavin Newsom thing is a big part of it right now.
Barack Obama has finally weighed in on the Texas gerrymandering, praising what California is doing, meaning Gavin Newsom saying these are unusual times. And he is saying that he loves, He says he has put forward a smart, measured approach in California designed to address a very particular problem at a very particular moment in time. So those who are hating on Gavin Newsom for what he's doing, his social media strategy, Barack Obama is saying, kick rocks. He's doing the right thing right now.
Kick rocks. Look at he's framed his face with his kick rocks. He's saying kick rocks. There's nothing more toiling or just purposeless than Don Lemon's. Like he's so superficial and so clueless and just, whatever it is. But, this thing with Gavin Newsom, it has one purpose, and that's to make Gavin Newsom the front runner, get his name recognition. I mean, this is what they do, right? Like, so they have people who think they're going to be presidents. Tim Walz and his crazy ass wife and his fucked up family, and his closeted gay, thing that he has going on there, whatever it is. And then, Kamala maybe has some dreams of making a comeback. She has some name recognition, but not good name recognition. And so, like, she's probably, has no chance of even running again, never mind winning. And then they're all posturing and they're trying to define themselves before 2028. In 2016, when Trump first won, 2020, they had, all these, when Trump lost, they had 20 candidates. And Kamala popped a little bit, but nobody liked her. And who are the other people that popped? Elizabeth Warren, she had a little bit of a following, 5-10%. Then everyone else was 1%. So Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris for about a week or two, Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg a little bit, and Amy Klobuchar a little bit. Pete Buttigieg actually Buttigieg won one primary. And everyone else was just, you can't even remember all their names. And they were just a joke, right? Joke candidates. And Gavin Newsom's a front runner. He was going to be a front runner before. For no fucking reason. Like, California is a disaster. People are leaving the state because it's so bad. And they're, it's going the opposite way of what a successful state would go. It's failing right now. But now none of that shit matters. It just matters about name recognition and all the things that people want now, which is attention. And Gavin Newsom's created that. Like, his team has done a good job. But, it has no value, right? It's a little bit funny. Those tweets are kind of funny. They've done, they've done a good job of mocking Trump, who, sucks. But none of it means anything, right? Like, it's just toiling. It's just spinning your wheels. Okay, so this is epic and pathetic and, like, just everything. It speaks for itself here.
Big live event. Come out and meet your favorite hosts, have some great in-person experiences, end the day with a dinner and a closing conversation with the one, the only Rachel Maddow.
Can you imagine going to an event where it's MSNBC, like, live event, and their big star is Rachel Maddow? Like, you're there because you think Rachel Maddow's a big star and you want to hang out with Maddow. I mean, that's, like, hilarious and so fucking pathetic and so sad. I mean, it's just, all those things, right? I mean, imagine having a company and your biggest asset is Rachel Maddow. Like, and, this whole whatever universe they've created over there. I mean, they're all bad. All these, like Wolf Blitzer and Anderson Cooper, I mean, all these guys are horrible. All these people, all the people on Fox News. I mean, we're not, none of them are likable or, worthwhile or anything, but Rachel Maddow particularly.
The MSNBC Live 25 will unite anchors, experts, and fans.
This year, there's something more urgent about being with your people and being connected.
Imagine how sad it would be that you go to this MSNBC Live thing, and that's your people, and that's who you want to be connected with. You feel connection with these people at MSNBC. And you go there to their fucking live show, whatever it is. This is like one of those kids' TV show. Like, there was like that show Fame, and, I don't know if they did this with Saved by the Bell or whatever, but they would go do live shows. And they tour the country, and whatever goofy shit they would do. And 8th grade girls and kids would, Tiger Beat, these things, celebrity focused people would go and see them. And this is like that, but like with adults. Like, these people are not celebrities, right? They're not personalities. I mean, that's what they're supposed to be. But like the real people, the real stuff is on social media because you can be authentic and, be creative and just, this dying, this thing that's going on with just old people. There's no youth in it. There's no energy in it. That's why they're all trying to do podcasts and do all these things. And they have a live event, right? And like that, you spend money and time on that, right? It's so fucked.
Been working on the moves. Be ready to tango. Visit msnbc.com/live25 to buy your tickets today.
So here it is. They didn't really focus on the Morning Joes. Some of these other people, some of them got some airtime. Some of them got, at least you see pictures of them. Click to buy tickets. Okay, so how much is it? Fucking, where's the thing? Morning session. MSNBC 2025 live. This is who we are. You got the tickets here. Fucking, I don't want to fucking accept any of this bullshit, right? What's the price of the tickets? You got to accept some kind of fucking thing here to get just view of the whatever it is. Yeah, let me see. Let me go to another browser. So this is a capstone lunch. I shit you not. They're calling it a capstone lunch, like the capstone in the pyramid. And you get to be joined by Mika Brzezinski, Chris Hayes, Katie Tur, and Jacob Sabaroff. And they have these places, these seats. So these are $800 tickets up front here. Back here, there's their different prices. People are going to pay $900 tickets. They go from $85 to whatever there is. I don't know what it is. So that's the first piece. Second thing, this is Ticketmaster. They have $250 tickets and then $500 tickets and $538 tickets and these things. Capstone dinner. Gather with Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Stephanie Rule, and your fellow MSNBC community members to share a meal. And then there's the stage. I don't know what that's all about. So there's two tickets. You get 2 tickets, and it ranges from whatever it is to $800. So I guess that was priced 2 tickets. Holy shit, right? Check out this weird motherfucker, right? This. So I was eating breakfast, and I was like, who is this? The person appears to be in woman clothing, so I would assume it's a woman. But holy shit, it's like a cross between Pat and Fire Marshal Shill. This is Morning Joe, and I don't know what's going on. I just fucking, Let's bring back Don Lemons for some sanity.
MAGA is melting down, but these people are fighting like crazy. I don't know if have you guys seen what is going on with MAGA lately, and especially the MAGA.
I don't know. You guys focused on MAGA? Like, why are you focused on MAGA? It's the Lemon Nation tat.
Women, MAGA women. Are you okay?
Are you okay, MAGA women? Are you okay? It's me, Don Lemons. I want to know. Are you okay?
And MAGA in general, but MAGA women, are you okay? Like putting your sexual exploits out there and calling each other out and talking about roast beef and the coochie and
roast beef and the coochie.
I mean, and someone is talking about. There are people out there talking about Lindsey Graham's Bucci. I mean,
wait, I know what a coochie is. What's a Bucci? I mean, it's crazy. Like, what's going on in MAGA world?
What is going on with MAGA and how Lindsey Graham likes to get down?
How does Lindsey Graham like to get down, Don? It's the same way you like to get down? Have you gotten down with Lindsey Graham?
MAGA is on. Come on now. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
We fucking don't. I have no idea. I don't follow MAGA. Like, I don't, I don't know what's going on. What's going on, Don? Give some more insight.
MAGA is tripping the F out. MAGA is crashing.
I'm hollering.
This is from, I'm just going to show, this is from Mediaite, okay?
He's got this View Products here that's screwing over his she's howling, Heather Nielsen.
Mediaite says, 2 clowns in a knife fight. Is it the end of MAGA? Well, the interesting thing is, thank you very much for the name that we eventually used this morning for our thumbnail, Mediaite. We love the guys over at Mediaite. We love Dan.
Dan's great. Dan's the best.
We love Aiden and
They are degenerates. Sarah D.
Andrew and everybody over there. Okay. But, I mean, seriously, 2 clowns in a knife fight. Let me go through this, some of it, okay?
Excuse you.
So the vicious and oddly personal feud between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Laura Loomer is being covered as political gossip. And yes, it is all the tabloid essentials: schoolyard insults, public humiliation, and just enough mock morality to keep cable bookers busy.
Boom.
True that.
True that.
Beneath the hair pulling is a revealing stress test of Trumpism's survival mechanisms. Spoiler
Mechanics.
alert. Without the big guy policing egos, the whole thing collapses in on itself. MAGA has never been about a governing agenda, which is shocking to me because there are people on the MAGA side who are accusing Gavin Newsom of the same thing, and we're going to talk about that. They are crashing out about and
The girls are fighting Ursula Harvey.
losing their minds over Gavin Newsom as well. It's a personality cult, which is true, with one central organizing principle: loyalty to President Trump. Everyone in the party tries to be like Trump. They try to be more outrageous than Trump, but it doesn't really work for them. Well, for most of them, it only works for Donald Trump. So that loyalty has been both glue and whip. Who wrote this? This is a good article. Let me
It's a
see.
good article. Who wrote this?
Who wrote this? I have to give them their. Oh, that's Colby. I love Colby. Colby's such a good writer.
Colby's
a
the
good
best.
dude too. Hey, Colby Hall.
Hey, Colby Hall, you're the fucking
loyalty
best, Colby.
has been both
Boom.
glue and whip, binding together an unruly coalition of hard right populists, conspiracy entrepreneurs, and opportunists who make no pretense about what they're selling. Proximity to Trump is the only currency that counts, and he is the sole banker.
Boom. Colby delivering it.
Okay. But, you guys with me? The Green Loomer death match reveals what happens when the banker steps away from the desk. Even with Trump technically in charge, countless media availabilities, endless online rants, and emulmenic grifting have seemingly distracted him from tending to the flock.
Boom. What incredible reading. This story time with Todd Levins.
And so then you get this crazy fight that has been happening. Now, this fight, this is nothing new. Remember where the girls are fighting because Donald Trump was fighting with Elon Musk, and then it was Elon
They are unhinged.
Musk and Vivek.
It seems like he has mostly his supporters are women who are giving him the whatever it is here.
And then it was Elon Musk and Scott Bessent.
Let them fight. Pay-per-view. Boy, you guys are delivering the comments. I mean, these comments are so fucking insightful. I mean, just nailing it time after time.
Reportedly, allegedly. And so it's not just
pick me behavior.
The ladies who are fighting. MAGA is melting down, and there's a knife fight. But this is a knife
MAGA loves reality TV.
Fight inside of a clown car. That's happening with this. Now, some of it I may read. I read some of it at the show with D.L. Hughley last week at City Winery. And we had Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett also read some of the stuff that was out there.
Sounds like I missed out on a fucking epic time.
And it's pretty juicy.
Pretty juicy.
I mean, and I think
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on this one.
we can talk about it.
Bonita, Parjarita.
Can we? Okay, so as we get into this, here's what I want you to do. I want you to hit the thumbs up. I want you to hit the like. It affects the algorithm. And I want you to become a member, please, because it's really important for us to stay on these streaming streets. And subscriptions are free. Just click the
They're
subscribe
free.
button right next to
Boom,
the comments
do it.
that you see on your screen. Okay? Just subscribe. No matter what you're following us on. If you're following us on Instagram, if you're watching us on Instagram, if you're following us on Instagram, if you're not, follow us on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube, wherever it is. Hit the like button, follow us, all right? And subscribe. Subscriptions are free. If you want the main show, it's on YouTube. Pretty soon, coming to another streaming platform near you. Wait for the announcement. Okay, so let's get into this because I think the funniest thing, guys, all right, everybody sit down because it's freaking hilarious. It's kind of gross, but it's freaking hilarious. And I love the guys over at the Bulwark.
I don't know how to pronounce her first name. Nicholson. A knife fight inside a clown car. I love this. Nice one, Don. He literally read the title. He literally led the title here. 2 clowns in a knife fight. I mean, and he just took it to the thing where he said, where he said a knife fight in a clown car. And so, nice one, Don. You're such a genius.
Okay? I love the guys over at the Bulwark, and they have a lot of fun with this. Okay, so everybody sit down. You're going to love this. Here it is.
Bill Maher went on his show and said maybe they're sleeping together. Maybe he's cheating on Melania with Laura Loomer.
Who's
So
Trump
pause,
fucking?
please.
And it's not,
Again, this is between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Laura Loomer. Okay, go ahead.
not Melania. I think we may have our answer this week. I think it might be Laura Loomer. I'm just saying.
And so she sued him in October. And so now it's gotten to the point where she's getting deposed.
Several pages of the deposition are taken up by Loomer's September 2024 claim that her arch enemy, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, has Arbys in her pants. It's clear that Loomer real rights
You're going to blow your nose and laugh at the same time, Don. You're falling apart there, bro.
was making a pejorative reference when she said Arbys in your pants, popular on the right to the anatomy of promiscuous women. But in the deposition, Loomer apparently couldn't
Pause,
admit
please.
that
Did he
was
say
her reference.
promiscuous men? Or did we just not hear the woman?
You said
in the mic?
woman.
Did you
Don.
guys hear that?
Yeah, we did.
Producers, anybody?
I thought I heard woman.
You heard woman? Okay, promiscuous women. Now, if you guys are out there, do you know what he's talking about when there's like roast beef in the pants?
I don't, Don. Can you explain it to us? It sounds pretty fucking intricate. And
Cab, the creator. You guys, he said women. Okay, maybe it's just my thing. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Okay.
we don't know, Don. No one knows what the fuck you're talking about. You're pretty much incoherent.
Okay, so roast beef in the pants. Damn.
Damn.
Smash the screen, TikTok. Okay, here we go.
Point. She instead pretended that she meant Greene actually puts Arby's roast beef sandwiches in her pants. Here's just a small portion of the roast beef exchange. Bolger, this is the HBO lawyer. So what is the basis for saying she had Arby's in her pants?
Pause. By the way, this is during a deposition that this is coming out. This is when she spilled the tea on Lady Lindsey Graham. Okay? And so I'm looking at a room right now in my home. There's a window open and there are no curtains. You get what I'm saying?
You get what you're saying, Don.
So if you
Wanda Briggs, where's the beef?
are at Arbys sells beef.
It's Wendy's, Wanda.
And so what have I just mentioned in the last two? I mentioned beef and I've mentioned curtains.
God damn it. I really like Arby's, LOL. Don't know if I can ever eat there again, LOL. Nikki Grasso. These are all women that are commenting here. So there's somehow that women are thinking that Don Lemon is quality, these liberal women. And, you know, if you like Arby's, it's poison, right? It's fast food is poison.
That's what they But they're saying no actual roast beef. Okay, here we go.
Because I know she likes to eat at Arby's. Bulger. And she likes to put it in her pants. You know that? Loomer. Yeah. Bulger. She puts Arby's in her pants. Loomer. Yeah, she does. Bulger. Okay. If I asked Marjorie Taylor Greene, she would tell you that she puts Arby's in her pants. Loomer.
LOL.
It's my best belief that she would tell you that. Yes. Bulger. Okay. Are you making a derogatory comment about her sex life by talking about Arby's in her pants?
Come on now.
This is a fucking court transcript. Loomer, no, I'm talking about Arby's sandwiches. I'm talking about Arby's. I'm a very direct person. If I was making a derogatory comment, I would have said it. Not helping her case. Loomer tweeted the roast beef insult again today. That would be Monday, asking Green's boyfriend, right-wing reporter Brian Glenn, quote, how does it feel to eat Arby's every day? Oh my god!
Oh, look at how happy Don is. Look at him.
Oh my god!
Fucking Don, it's not really that funny. It's kind of silly, a little bit, but you know.
How does it feel to eat Arby's every day? Oh,
This shit is crazy.
that's why I'm telling you, something is not right with the MAGA.
Nothing these people do is serious. Jesus.
Ladies, I don't know what's going on with that, and just with MAGA. I'm so hot, I'm sweating in here, by the way. I mean,
It's not. I think you're infecting everybody with your cold, Don.
wow. What do you guys think? Yes, this is Wacky Wednesday, but it's the truth. And we're not making this up. By the way, this is a deposition because you know she is suing Bill Maher. Okay? Laura Loomer is suing Bill Maher, I guess, for slander, libel, or something like that. And this is in a court deposition that they have to get through. Yeah, MAGA is in disarray, Kate, and it is playing out publicly.
It's MAGA's in disarray. They're in disarray. This Arby's thing. I mean, it's like they're never going to be the same after this Arby's scandal. They're not going to be able to survive Arby's. I mean, this is going to bring Trump down, you know. Him saying Jeffrey Epstein's a terrific guy and refusing to release the Jeffrey Epstein files, that's nothing. But this Arby's thing, that'll fucking take him down.
It's just the most bizarre thing to me. Now, let's pull up this. Okay, so let's pull this up. This is a transcript. This is from the actual testimony that they were reading. So, what is
yeah,
your
you were going to read that again? They just read this.
for saying she had Arby's in her pants? Because I know she likes to eat Arby's, Bulger, and she likes to put it in her pants. You know that? Yeah.
Okay, so there's that. MGT isn't a Christian. How can you call yourself a Christian when you're wearing a cross while getting bent over backwards inside the gym by every guy isn't your husband? She's on her knees, all right. It's not for praying. She never wants to talk about this. Why not? So that's what she said there about her. You know, and I guess he's got this.
Wants to talk about this. Why not?
I don't think I can ever eat Arby's roast beef again. Yeah, it's not the fact that it's not roast beef and it's fucking nasty fucking death food, right?
I'm just saying. You guys tell me what you think of this.
With curly fries.
This is madness. And I'm going to show you. You think it's just fun. I'm going to give you a lesson.
Wow.
A class on why this is not just fun, why they're actually melting down, why they're all freaking out, because they have been operating for such a long time. Let's send you there.
Mental health crisis in America. We should be investing in reopening mental health hospitals instead of sending America's hard-earned tax dollars to foreign countries. Put America first. Let's send you there first.
Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. slamming Laura Loomer and calling her a liar. Watch this.
Laura Loomer is another one that has relentless attacked me.
Pause,
Many
please.
other American.
Oh my God, this relentless.
Are you really going to criticize someone else about being inarticulate, Don? Right? Really?
Is that even a word? I mean, he
Of
loves
course,
the
it's not a fucking word, Don.
poorly educated.
I mean, just listen to this thing here.
Oh my God, this
relentless attack to me.
Pause,
Many
please.
other American.
Oh my God, this relentless. Is that even a word? I mean, he loves the poorly educated. It's obvious. I mean, come on. Marjorie Taylor Greene, not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Don doesn't know how stupid he is. And neither do these fucking morons who leave these comments. They're showing their true selves. I mean, it's just so remedial. These, like, superficial level of consciousness. These commenters and people who watch Don Lemon and thinks this is good fucking content. Like, he is the dumbest motherfucker out there of all these political pundits. I mean, he is just, I mean, he was on CNN. So someone who, you know, for the most part, the people on CNN and Fox and MSNBC are well educated and they could be good journalists if they hadn't sold their souls. I mean, whatever it is. Maybe they're just like evil, but they're not this stupid, right? They're not brilliant. They're not whatever they are. But Don is just like, he's 20 IQ points down from the average fucking dope on these shows, right? And, you know, they're people who lie and manipulate the truth, but they know what the truth is. At least they know some of it, right? They know they're lying. Don Lemon's is fucking clueless. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, yeah, she's a dumbass. They all are. Like some of those, you know, right-wing fucks. And Trump doesn't, you know, love people with smart people, although he says he does. But, you know, she's not that stupid. Like, she might be a little bit rednecky or whatever. And, you know, she's definitely smarter than Don Lemon's.
Sure. Not the sharpest bowling ball in the alley.
The sharpest bowling ball in the alley? Do you just really fucking say that? The sharpest bowling ball? You're criticizing her for relentless, and you're saying sharpest bowling ball? Like, you're fucking
Obvious. I mean, come on. Marjorie Taylor Greene, not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Not the sharpest bowling ball in the alley. I know that doesn't make sense, but that's why I'm saying it.
It doesn't make sense, Don, and none of your shit does. Like, when you go off the rails and you're not reading other people's stuff, you're a dumbass, and none of your shit makes sense.
Relentless. Play it back from the beginning. Here it is.
Laura Loomer is another one that has relentless attacked me. Many other America First Republicans like Matt Gaetz and many other members of Congress. As a matter of fact, the only people she attacks are Republicans. And Laura Loomer touts her.
It's not true. This guy dropped $5 for this comment. Just when you're thinking you've heard it all from MAGA, finds a way to make you shake your head and question their actions. Boy, that's well worth the $5 you just gave to Don Lemons.
Herself as, basically testing everyone for loyalty. But the truth about Laura Loomer is she scrapes up information and then she twists it and manipulates her stories to basically be the same manuscripted information like MSNBC does.
Yeah, you guys all do that. You all guys have an agenda, and you make the facts fit your agenda. You make the facts fit your feelings. You have a worldview, and you try to twist reality. I mean, Trump is the biggest guy doing that. And yeah, everyone else does it, but Trump is doing it like unapologetically and without trying to hide it. Like, this is what this is all about. People knowing the truth is something else, or at least not looking for the truth, but knowing what they're saying is lies, or just making themselves believe that the shit that they're saying is real or hearing is real, and taking information and making it fit their agenda. That's what this whole fucking fucked up country and world is about right now. And it's, you know, it's something that has invaded the truth community because, you know, there were truth seekers, but even in the beginning, a lot of the truth shit ended up being bullshit stuff. There's a lot of disinformation, a lot of people just putting out lies. So, I mean, that's what it is. It's fucking just, no one's telling you the truth. And if they were, they say the system's fucked and you're a piece of shit. You need to work on yourself, right? Like all of us do. Like we all do. Like we all suck and we need to get better. And you should start with yourself and not worry about these fucking pieces of shit because you're also a piece of shit, right? So.
Okay. Now, that's her on Marjorie Taylor Greene or Laura Loomer relentlessly attacking her. Now, this is the other one that I told you about. I knew there was another one. Am I right? I'm always right, right? Come on, guys. Say it. Just make me feel good.
You're always right?
Yeah. Because I don't know. I feel like I'm catching a cold or something, and I hate summer colds. By the way, Karen White, thank you for your generosity. Because of Karen's generosity, 20 people get to become members of Elimination.
Boom.
Karen,
she gifted 20 memberships. Way to go, Karen White. What a fucking wonderful use of your money.
and thank you. That's how we stay viable.
Okay, let me just read this and get out. I wish Representative MTG got on her knees for the Lord and save her as much as she got on her knees for men who aren't her husband. Just another fake Christian. You can't call yourself a Christian when you have your mouth is full of other men's cock. I may be Jewish, but at least I'm not a Jezebel. No, you're a C word, and you're, this other stuff here. I guess he read that. We'll see how Don says it here.
Taylor Greene talk about that. Laura Loomer, you heard. By the way, Laura Loomer, I mean, have you seen her? Do we have a picture of her? I think she got on her knees for men who aren't her husband. Just another fake Christian. Now remember, these are supposed to be God-fearing Christians who talk to everybody else about, oh, the Lord,
the MAGA girls are fighting, multiple emojis,
says this, and the Bible says that, and you're not supposed to do this. And oh, what about the gays and the drag queen story hours and all of this? You've heard Marjorie Taylor Greene talk about that. Laura Loomer, you heard. By the way, Laura Loomer, I mean, have you seen her? Do we have a picture of her? I think there's one on the. Anyway, let me just read this. Just another fake Christian. Can you call yourself a Christian when your mouth is full of another man's?
Say it, Don. Say it.
That was me trying to do a rooster.
Yeah, that's not a good one. Let's hear your rooster again.
That was me trying to do a rooster.
Yeah, it sounded like a dog that just got hit by a car.
Cock. I may be Jewish, but at least I'm not a Jezebel.
Wow. Fucking wow. Wow. This is amazing. Fucking wow. What's incredible content. So this is Don Lemon's. What I do here, I don't know how many other people do this. I don't watch other truthers, and there's so many people on the internet that, there are people who say that there's other YouTubers that are similar to me or whatever. Certainly they wouldn't have the Sajmarg element, which is a key component and a very important component. But, people have their different perception. But one of the things that I'm very clear about is there's no answers on the internet. There's no answers in politics or media. There's no solutions. There's no information. There's no big reveal. There's nothing, there's nothing to see here. It's entertaining just from the standpoint, if you can enjoy things breaking down and collapsing and you find that funny, which I do, how things unravel when things go south. What happens when you're fucked? Like, it's funny to me. It's not funny to everybody, and it's, if it isn't funny, then, why are you watching it? Like, who gives a shit? Like, if you're getting stressed out about it. But there's no solution here. There's no saving the system. There's no fixing anything. It's like I was saying in the beginning of the video and the audio, like it's everything is going in a direction that leads to the dissolution of something that is demonic in its very nature, and everything in that is toiling to try to keep something that God has ruled that it should go extinct, right? That it's been chosen for extinction, the system and maybe human race or whatever it is, right? You can't save something that is become useless or it served its purpose. It no longer has a useful purpose. And that probably is the the definition of our system. So when I cover people like Don Lemons or Morning Joe or Trump or whatever that guy's name is, Tom McDonald or whatever these people are, it's that they're useless and it's just toiling and there's nothing, they have no value. Like there's nothing, they're contributing nothing because they're embedded in the beast. People who are embedded in the beast, we all have to deal with the beast. We all have to deal with the system. We all have to compromise and do whatever we got to do to be a part of the system because it's what's there. And there's a divine element to that, right? There's a divine aspect to that. You're born into the system, so you participate. This is the time you're born in, and as much as you don't like it, as much as it doesn't suit you, as much as you're more suited to a more spiritual time or something else, a more, agrarian time. I mean, people have, their kind of preferences and who they are as a person. And for lots of us, this system doesn't make sense and we don't really love it, but you got to participate in some element. You have to do something. You have to contribute in some way, either to the system or to the divine, order of things, the divine world. You have to do something with your time, right? Every animal, every creature has a purpose and they have a role to play. And when you find that role and you play that role and you do what you're supposed to do, there's a joy to it. I don't want to say joy in that sense and happiness, but a congruity to it that you don't get for anything else. When you find your soul's path and you're willfully going along with God's plan, there's something to that you don't. There's a sense of well-being that you have that most people just don't even sniff in their lives because they're not looking for it. Some people fall into it naturally and they embrace what their soul wants them to do naturally, but they're not really aware of it in that sense. And so, they have the happiness and the sense of well-being, but it could be deeper if they, were more contemplative and they had a deeper understanding of what's going on. But in terms of the people that are in front of you in the system, they are just reactions. Like they're just NPCs. They're not self-directed people. They're just playing their role for the system, the beast, without thinking, without questioning, without, they've been put in a box, they're left and right, or a demographic because of their racial identity or their sexual orientation or any number of things, where you live, the people around you, and you develop a group of people, a construct of people who believe a certain thing, and you just go along with it. You don't question it, and you just follow the pack, and it's just you're not even alive, right? You don't have any original thoughts or any original opinions. You just go along with what everyone else is doing. And that's the majority of people, and the majority of people are following, which would be okay if there was good leadership and there was, what we were doing was balanced and we had a good civilization and we had good, systems of spirituality and things. It would be okay to be a follower in that level. But now you're just following fucking demonic people. And, the big thing is you look at one side as being so bad, and they're both bad, and so you assume the other side has to be good because you don't look in depth at, they always focus. Look at how much Don Lemons was focused on MAGA here, the MAGA people. They're always focused on all this negativity. And, these people are all fucking bad. They're not, making the world a better place. They're not hooked into it. They may or may not be doing their soul's path or sort of soul's role. But if they are, they're doing it unconsciously. And they're mostly going backwards and making the world a worse place. And, like I said, there's no answers here. There's no solutions. There's just a civilization showing why it needs to collapse and the people who are woefully unprepared for it. And so, whatever happens in the future, whatever bad things happen, whatever tumultuous things happen, whatever cataclysms, whatever upheavals, whatever changes we have to endure, we have to go through some shit before we will be motivated to do better. Like people aren't volunteering to change. The warnings are there. The information's there. I mean, most people kind of know deep down what they need to do and what they need to change. And they just, they repress it. They stuff it down. They, ignore it. And the divine information's there all the time. God's communicating, these beings that are in charge of making sure the divine system is adhered to, that are, unfolding a divine plan for the evolution of the human race and trying to right the ship here. Etheric beings, what people think of as angels or whatever it is, and they're here and they're communicating, and the information's there in the ether, and you can pick up on it, like it's just there. You can see it, like the writing's on the fucking wall, right? People just don't want to fucking see it, and so, this is like with Noah's Ark, and again, the Old Testament sucks, but that's a good example of that. The flood's coming, and no one knows it, and then people are laughing at him, and they're all just about to get swallowed up. I mean, it's happened over and over again. Cassandra, in the story of the Trojan horse, a woman who could see the future. She, and nobody listened to her. She could literally see the future and nobody listened to her. There's a guy called Sidor in Sidor, I don't know, whatever it is. And he's the sort of bastard brother of the two kings, and he has divine sight. And he knows everything that's going to happen. He tries to warn the shitty kings, especially there's one who's a blind king. And he keeps on telling the guy, what he needs to do, and nobody fucking listens to him, right? There's been prophets and prophecies, but even without the prophets, the information's there for everybody. The prophet is just articulating something it's like a signal that's broadcasting into everybody's internal being. And the information's there, the divine information, people just don't want to hear it. Willfully ignoring it, right? And so, this is where we're at as a species, and that's why I make the videos I do, because I want to make it perfectly clear we're fucked, and all these people are fucking not only just stupid and low vibration, but they're going in the wrong direction, and so many people are following them. But anyways, that's it for this one.